Good evening and welcome to World News 360, your trusted source for global updates, where we bring you the stories that matter from every corner of the planet. Today we will cover significant events from around the world, including the vibrant Shikali Jatra festival in Nepal, the recent Nobel Peace Prize awarded to atomic bombing survivors in Japan, and escalating tensions in the Middle East. Let's dive into these stories and more, and stay informed with the latest developments from around the globe as we dive into today's World News highlights. Nobel Peace Prize awarded to Japanese Organization of Atomic Bombing Survivors Nihon Hintakyo. The prize was awarded to the organization also known as Hibakusha for its activism against nuclear weapons. Chair of the Norwegian Nobel Committee, Jorvin Vatni Fridensau, praised its efforts in demonstrating through witness testimony that nuclear weapons must never be used again.
The Norwegian Nobel Committee has decided to award the Peace Prize for 2024 to the Japanese organization Nihon Hidankyo. This grassroots movement of atomic bomb survivors from Hiroshima and Nagasaki, also known as Hibakusha, is receiving the Peace Prize for its efforts to achieve a world free of nuclear weapons and for demonstrating through witness testimony that nuclear weapons must never be used again. The Norwegian Nobel Committee has decided to award the Peace Prize for 2024 to the Japanese organization Nihon Hidankyo. This grassroots movement of atomic bomb survivors from Hiroshima and Nagasaki, also known as Hibakusha, is receiving the Peace Prize for its efforts to achieve a world free of nuclear weapons and for demonstrating through witness testimony that nuclear weapons must never be used again.
The medieval town of Kokara recently held its vibrant Shikali Jatra, a traditional festival celebrated in place of the fortnightly Dacian festival. During this 5-day event, mass dancers representing various Hindu deities performed spirited dances around the Shikali temple, honoring the goddess known as Shikali Asma or Mother Goddess. The festivities commenced with a procession of goddess Rudrayani or Shikali, carried in a wooden chariot through the village and eventually resting at the temple, accompanied by various sacred copper vessels. The Jatra incorporates tantric rituals and features colorful mass dances depicting 14 deities from the Hindu pantheon.
यो असोजको तृतीयादेखि चाहिँ सुरुवात हुन्छ। तृतीयाको दिनमा चाहिँ माथि खोक्ना ढोका बाहिर तीनटा गुठी हुन्छ, टाउ गुठी र सलाम गुठी, जौ गुठी। तीनटै गुठीबाट चाहिँ चोखो राङ्गो ल्याएर चाहिँ त्यहाँ काट्ने चाहिँ कार्य हुन्छ। त्यो काटेर हाम्रो दुईटा गुठीबाट चाहिँ पूजा सङ्कलन गर्ने कुमार केटाहरू जम्मा 8 जना हुन्छ 8 जना मध्ये चाहिँ त्यो तिथिको दिनमा ढोका बाहिर चाहिँ राङ्गो काटेको चाहिँ रगत चाहिँ ल्याएर यही शिखाली मन्दिरमा चाहिँ चढाउन चाहिँ आउँछ अनि त्यो सकेपछि भोलिपल्ट चाहिँ हाम्रो छेलबु भन्छ त्यही चोखो राङ्गोको चाहिँ प्रसाद गुठीमा चाहिँ बाँडेर प्रसाद खान्छ अब हिजोको दिनमा चाहिँ मूल जात्रा हुन्छ मूल जात्रा भनेको नि चाहिँ अब मन्दिर अगाडि चाहिँ मूर्तिहरू खटमा राखेर
During these times, there's like lots of people. There's many people who come here and learn about many different cultures. So I think it's quite fun. You get experience to learn new things.
Well, let's take a look at the Middle East. Israel Defense Force launched fresh 8 strikes in central Beirut on October 10. The midnight strikes targeted one Hezbollah senior leader while killing 22 people, wounding 117 others. This marks third Israeli strike outside Beirut's southern suburb since the military campaign expanded in late September, and Lebanese security source said at least one senior Hezbollah figure was targeted in the attacks. Israeli attacks have eliminated much of Hezbollah's senior military leadership, including Nasrallah and his successor Hashem Safieddin. The Israeli assault also killed hundreds of ordinary Lebanese, including rescue workers, Lebanese officials say. Talking about the war, Israeli airstrikes on central Beirut on Thursday left two neighborhoods smoldering, killed 22 people and wounded dozens, Lebanon's health ministry said, as well as further escalating Israel's bloody conflict with Iran-backed Hezbollah militants in Lebanon. Their raid on central Beirut, the deadliest in over a year of war, apparently targeted two residential buildings in separate neighborhoods simultaneously, according to a media photographer at the scene. It brought down one apartment building and wiped out the lower floors of the other. The Israeli military said it was looking into the reported strikes. Israeli airstrikes have been far more common in Beirut's tightly packed southern suburbs, where Hezbollah bases many of its operations.
هاي المنطقة منطقة سكنية بامتياز، يعني أغلب النازحين اللي نزحوا من الجنوب ومن الضاحية قاعدين عنا هون، لأنه بيروت تعد آمنة حد ما يعني، وهون بالمنطقة عنا ما في أصلا نهائيا وجود لأي شيء يثير الريبة أو الشك أو إنه تنضرب المنطقة، منطقة سكنية كلها مدنيين عزل.
The situation in West Asia remains tense after the killing of Hezbollah chief Nasrallah by Israeli forces. Iran took revenge and fired a barrage of nearly 200 ballistic missiles at Israel, but Israel intercepted the majority of them. Iran's Supreme Leader Khamenei on October 4 made first public appearance after Iran attacked Israel, and Khamenei justified Iran's recent ballistic missile attack and declared that Iran would continue fighting. The site was protected by a host of defensive systems, including a possible Chinese laser counter-drone system, and photographs of the counter-drone system surfaced on the internet on October 4 to 5, initially believed to be the Silent Hunter anti-drone system from China. Independent military experts later debunked the claims about the system being the Silent Hunter. Mark Sofer, Israel's former ambassador to India, spoke to media acknowledging the long-standing conflict and expressing support for the government's handling of the situation. He noted that while there is no objection to Israeli forces entering Gaza to fight Hamas, the government must also develop an exit strategy. Mark Sofer emphasized the need for a clear plan that offers hope for the Palestinian people, outlining when Israeli troops will eventually leave Gaza. There has been a lot of criticism, and I think a lot of it is correct, about the way the government has been handling the conflict.
Well, there's been a lot of criticism, and I think a lot of it is correct about the way the government has been handling the conflict. And I think first and foremost is the problem of we have entered into Gaza. Nobody has a problem of entering and fighting Hamas and destroying Hamas, the infrastructure, the governmental applications of it. But what we need, and which the government hasn't supplied, is an exit strategy, a horizon for the Palestinian people, that when we leave Gaza, when the war is over, there will be a future for Israel side by side with the Palestinians, and this we haven't addressed yet, or the government hasn't addressed yet, as we move forward. And this is a big problem and causing a lot of criticism in Israel, and I think that that's what's very necessary right now.
So, how do you think the international community view this conflict?
Well, I think there's different parts of the international community. I think you have the serious intellectual and analytical parts of the community, which are looking of the international community, which are looking at the conflict from a point of view of Israel was massively attacked, invaded by 4,000 or 5,000 terrorists coming from the outside, and like any country, they have the right. We have the right to self-defense. We have the right to stop this happening again. Basically, the same way that if 5,000 people came in, marched into India from Pakistan and started murdering, raping, and pillaging villages or people around that area, India would certainly have the right to exist, and I think that the international community largely understands that. That's not been the case in certain circles. Some campuses around the world which have taken entirely the position that Israel is to blame. We're used to that. Yes, Israel, and for some people, can never be right. Everything we do is wrong. Some of these demonstrations are orchestrated. Many of them are well financed around in different parts of the world, especially in Europe. But I think in general, the journalists, the academics, those who are really looking for analytical truth, understand our right to fight back, understand our right to defend ourselves. They may have differences vis-a-vis the actual conduct of the war, but not the right to actually hold it. And I'm talking really only about Gaza. Lebanon is a different story, but of course we can address that. Well, there's been a lot of criticism.
India declared Hizb ut-Tahrir a terrorist organization under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. The MHA started that HUT aims to establish an Islamic State and caliphate globally, including in India. Hizb ut-Tahrir planned to overthrow democratically elected governments through jihad and terrorism. HUT is accused of radicalizing youth to join terrorist organizations like ISIS and raising funds for terror activities. The government believes HUT poses a grave threat to India's democratic setup and internal security. Home Minister Amit Shah emphasized that the action against HUT aligns with Prime Minister Modi's zero-tolerance policy towards terrorism. Notably, the US, China, Russia and Pakistan have already banned and declared Hizb ut-Tahrir a terrorist organization.
वैश्विक शांति और सुरक्षा के लिए एक तरफ आतंकवाद जैसा बड़ा खतरा है, तो दूसरी तरफ साइबर, मैरीटाइम, स्पेस जैसे अनेक संघर्ष के नए नए मैदान भी बन रहे हैं। इन सभी विषयों पर मैं जोर देकर कहूंगा कि ग्लोबल एक्शन मस्ट मैच ग्लोबल एम्बिशन।
The Israeli army released a video showing a house in southern Lebanon with grenades and sniper rifles. The house is located in a Hezbollah stronghold and was allegedly used for storing weapons and gear, and Israel's military spokesman Daniel Hagari exposed the Hezbollah's plan and showed the house full of weapons. Israeli military claimed the weapons were intended for a planned attack in northern Israel.
With vests, helmets, night vision, mines you can see here. Sniper rifles, extremely high sniper rifles. I want to show you a Lebanese house, a Lebanese in a Shia village house, close to our border. Every house is a terror base. I wanted you to see in your own eyes what we found here today. This is our forces raiding on this village. Come with me. In this house, a storage of gear, waiting for Hezbollah's Radwan forces, with vests, helmets, night vision, mines you can see here. All of these weapons here were stored and piled in the house, ready for the big raid. The raid plan called Conquer the Galilee. They plan to do a massacre in a larger scale than the 7th of October on northern Israel. With this gear over here, I want you to see what kind of a gear. You see the hand grenades here. Sniper rifles, extremely high sniper rifles, shooting on our forces, shooting on our civilians from far away. Look at those sniper rifles here. We are now going a house through house, raiding each and every house, taking all this gear, dismantling Hezbollah's capability to do the Conquer Galilee plan. This is what we do. This is a limited, targeted raid on the northern part of Israel, okay, that we are conducting across the border to take care with the threat that Hezbollah has built for years. With vests, helmets, night vision, mines you can see here.
Israel's ambassador to the UN, Danny Danon, placed two conditions ahead of Hezbollah for a ceasefire in the Middle East. Danny Danon said, if Hezbollah wants the situation to de-escalate, it's very simple. They have to do two things. First, they must immediately stop shelling our civilian communities. Second, Hezbollah must withdraw to the north of the Litani River in accordance with the UN Resolution 1701, which was adopted here in the Security Council in 2006. Until that happens, Israel will continue our operations to degrade Hezbollah's terror network. We found a lot of weapons in the bunkers next to our border, and we will do whatever it takes to secure our people and enable 70,000 displaced Israelis to return home safely.
Hezbollah calls for a ceasefire while simultaneously murdering Israeli civilians with their rockets. If Hezbollah wants the situation to de-escalate, it's very simple. They have to do two things. First, they must immediately stop shelling our civilian communities. Second, Hezbollah must withdraw to the north of the Litani River. We have no desire to stay in Lebanon, and I think the only troops that can do that will be the Lebanese military and UNIFIL. But they need to have the strength, the power, and the ability to ensure that Hezbollah is not coming back to the same places. I will not get into specifics, but we are targeting terrorists. We are not targeting civilians. But many times Hezbollah are taking advantage of the situation. Good afternoon. It is a Wednesday night in Israel now, and we have once again been reminded of the relentless terror we face. Today, 6 innocent people were injured, 2 of them still in critical condition, in a brutal mass stabbing attack in the city of Hadera, a little bit south of Haifa. In Kiryat Shmona, Hezbollah's rockets murdered a man and a woman who were simply walking their dog. And yet, even as Hezbollah continues their murderous campaign, senior Hezbollah officials have the audacity to demand that Israel cease fire. Let me be clear about that. No one should mistake the arrogance of these terrorists for diplomacy. Hezbollah calls for a ceasefire while simultaneously murdering Israeli civilians with their rockets. If Hezbollah wants the situation to de-escalate, it's very simple. They have to do two things. First, they must immediately stop shelling our civilian communities. Second, Hezbollah must withdraw to the north of the Litani River in accordance with UN Resolution 1701, which was adopted here in the Security Council in 2006. Until that happens, Israel will continue our operations to degrade Hezbollah's terror network. We found a lot of weapons in the bunkers next to our border, and we will do whatever it takes to secure our people.
That wraps up our global update. Join us next time for more stories shaping our world. Stay tuned to CVR English News.